Hey guys, it's a pleasure to see you again on my video. Thank you so much for visiting. I am certain, I am positive that you will enjoy this video. It is very interesting, so please stay with me. So, on this video, I'm going to argue that Zelda has two different artistic visions, and I'm not talking about the formula, open air formula, or linear formula. I'm not talking about that this time. This is only about the artistic vision of Zelda, whether if it is cartoonish or realistic. Because as fans, we know obviously that Zelda has different art styles, but how does that make sense? I mean, why do that even happen, you know? My video is going to try to explain why that happened. And as you can see, I will argue that these are the visions of Miyamoto and Aonuma. Two different visions, two different artistic visions for Zelda. But before I go into this collage that I made, that is actually very revealing. I'll need to introduce you guys to the topic. So I made this presentation and I call it the Zelda Divergence between Shigeru Miyamoto, that is the creator, the actual creator of Zelda, and his successor Eiji Aonuma. So here are the facts. On this interview with Game Informer on 2023, Aonuma actually confirms, I mean, we already knew it, but he confirms it that after Ocarina of Time, he took the baton from Miyamoto. So he took the direction of the series after Ocarina of Time. And he says that practically Miyamoto was the director of Ocarina of Time, which is partially true because if you actually read the interviews that Iwata made to the team that made Ocarina of Time, you can tell that they talk about 5 different directors working together and Miyamoto actually being producer. But let's take Aonuma's word right now. I mean, because it actually will make sense, but just stay with me. So he basically says that here, and that after Miyamoto left the direction of Zelda, I mean the whole franchise, to Aonuma. Aonuma tried to carry it forward. But okay, so that is one introduction, and the other, I mean, after Ocarina of Time, of course, we know that came Majora's Mask, and if I'm talking about divergence in artistic visions, you may say, I mean, what are you talking about, Nick Ulrich? Because Majora's Mask continued with the same art style of Ocarina. And to that, I'll bring this argument, I mean this reason. The 1 year development that Miyamoto asked or challenged Aonuma to make. So I found this interview, this 1999 interview of Miyamoto, that explains that he's trying to make a game soon for new people. I mean, for the people that played Ocarina of Time do not age as much. So he explains that normally a sequel takes around 3 years to make. So he wanted to reduce that to 1 year because he wanted players not to age as much. So that was the basis for the 1 year development. And after that, Aonuma says that explains a little bit the reason for reusing Ocarina of Time's assets, character models, and gaming on an interview in 2015 to Game Informer, Aonuma is asked, "There are a lot of reused character models and assets from Ocarina of Time in Majora's Mask. Was that just a time and money saving decision or a stylistic choice?" And then Aonuma says, "Really, it was a little bit of both." So, I mean, so that was a thing actually, a time saving choice. Not entirely, but it was a factor. So, I mean, it is on the interview, so I will argue that. So, we have covered why Majora's Mask carries on with the artistic choice that Miyamoto approved, okay? Meaning the Ocarina of Time art style. So that's the reason Aonuma continued with that art style, the 1 year development. And now I'm going to, I mean, this is like common knowledge for fans. We all know what Aonuma felt about the 2000 Space World video. He says, "I saw that movie and I thought, no, this isn't Zelda. This isn't Zelda at all." So, for Aonuma, this isn't Zelda. Okay, realistic Ocarina of Time style Zelda isn't Zelda for him. So we can start seeing his vision, his artistic vision for Zelda. So for Aonuma, I mean, this is obvious, but I'm going to say it anyways. This is not Zelda. But what does Mr. Miyamoto think about it? Think about the artistic vision for Zelda. Well, we'll now know, thanks to the translation to Did You Know Gaming, that what Miyamoto thought about Wind Waker 1 year later. And Aonuma says at some point he had to give a he, meaning Miyamoto, had to give a presentation against his will. That's when he said something to me like, it's not too late to change course and make a realistic Zelda. So, are you guys following me? Miyamoto and Aonuma have different artistic visions for what the Legend of Zelda is. This is more like Miyamoto's Zelda, and this is more like Aonuma's Zelda. And each creator has conflict with each vision, each artistic vision. So that was the introduction. And now we are at this. The actual games that were made. So on your right side, I mean left side, which is funny because I think Miyamoto is left-handed and Aonuma is right-handed. So this is kind of fitting. But anyway, so here we see, and they say a picture is worth 1,000 words. And here we actually see the results of those ideas, of those artistic visions, of what Zelda is for each developer. Like I said, left side left side is Miyamoto's Zelda. Right side is Aonuma's Zelda. And we'll start to talk about Miyamoto because it's actually chronologically in order. So at first we have Ocarina of Time, and then follow up with Majora's Mask, the same artistic vision, and then we see um, Link, Ocarina of Time Link, with the capabilities of the GameCube, fully developed the render in all its glory. And but then of course we see the Aonuma side around. I mean, Melee came 2001 and Wind Waker 2003, 2002ish, and we see the difference in the artistic vision. We see Toon Link, we see Four Swords Adventures, Minish Cap, and after that, after Minish Cap came out in 2004, I think, as well as Four Swords Adventures, and that didn't go too well with the fans. So we returned to the Miyamoto vision, because we all know fans wanted a realistic Zelda, and of course, that's what Miyamoto likes, that's the vision of Miyamoto, and that's why it is on the left side. I put some screenshots of Twilight Princess about how the game, of how Miyamoto's Zelda actually looks like, even though Aonuma was director, we are talking about the artistic vision. And right now, on Twilight Princess, it is Miyamoto's vision, because as we all know, Aonuma does not like realistic Zelda. As I previously stated, his vision, Aonuma's vision for Zelda is toonish, cel-shading like. So on Twilight Princess, we are seeing Miyamoto's vision. After Twilight Princess, after 2006, the next Zelda game was Phantom Hourglass for the DS, and we continue to see the Toon Link. After the sequel to Phantom Hourglass, no wonder, is Spirit Tracks. Then 2009, Aonuma continues his artistic vision. Of course, that's what he likes. He was not going to make a realistic Zelda. So, and actually, before 2009, there was Link's crossbow training, but if you guys like, if you are following me, if Aonuma, we have seen the history that Aonuma historically hasn't liked realistic Zelda and has preferred to make cel shading games and toonish Zelda games. It is kind of like no wonder why he didn't make a sequel to Twilight Princess. That is what I'm going to argue, and that is why we see a sequel to Phantom Hourglass instead on the handheld DS instead of the big console at the time. That's why I will argue we didn't see a sequel or a Twilight Princess game style on the Wii. So we see here On the right side of the spirit tracks image, a representation of Aonuma's artistic vision for Zelda at the time, because of course on the handhelds they're, they weren't so powerful, so on a much capable console system it would have been more like Wind Waker, of course. And we are 2009 with Spirit Tracks, and on the right side, 2011, we see, of course, Skyward Sword, which it was, I think it was something like, it was intended as a paintbrush, something, but to me, it looks cel shading like still. So we see Aonuma's influence on that one, with Fujibayashi as director. So we see Aonuma's vision influence. So that's why it's on the right side. And then Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask 3D, I put them there because they look more cartoonish and not so um, serious, or I don't know how to say it, more, I mean, more semi-realistic. They do not look with that semi-realistic serious style that I feel it the artwork from the N64 games represent with the actual graphics. So I decided, I mean, this is personal opinion, but I decided to put them more on the Aonuma's Zelda vision. A more cartoonish Zelda, a more perhaps Ghibli-esque Zelda style. And on the left side, we see the actual art style, original art style of Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, which is more anime shonen. I have always said that, and so that's why we see the 3DS versions on Aonuma's side. And of course, with Breath of the Wild, Aonuma continued the cel shading games, and it's of course it's a more developed cel shading Wind Waker, and Tears of the Kingdom, it's the same. And then we go back to the left side, we see the different links. Twilight Princess Link art style, which is more realistic. Of course, it's not like 100% like real life, but it is more like reality, because actually if you see Link's, I mean, Ocarina of Time Link's model actually was based off a real human being, a Hollywood actor, which I argue is River Phoenix, actor River Phoenix, instead of Leonardo DiCaprio. Leonardo DiCaprio. So that's why you can tell that Link has a little bit of those realistic facial features, and not so much like unrealistic, I don't know, anime style. Even though it's still pretty like manga style, it has that inspiration in reality as a fact, because Ocarina of Time Link it's a fact that it was based off a real human being. So there you go, guys, and we see the difference. Uh, Tears of the Kingdom Link and Ocarina of Time Link, Of course, I use the Soul Calibur 2 because I can't show you guys the N64 model because it's like due to the graphics limitations of the N64, the idea wasn't represented at its full potential. So thankfully to Soul Calibur we see how Link actually is supposed to look. And then we see the Twilight Princess, realistic, I mean more dark fantasy style. And in the end we see the gameplays. On the left side we see a more Miyamoto influence art style, graphics, and on the right side we see the Aonuma's influence, art vision, cell shading like, and so there you go guys. I will argue that these are the reasons of the different art styles for the Zelda games after since Ocarina of Time. The realistic Zelda is a Miyamoto vision, and the toonish cel shading Zelda is Aonuma's. And I'm not saying this video is not to say which, I mean, I'm not trying to say which one should be Zelda, because in the end we are here just to enjoy games. I mean, I'm not going to ruin the fun to anyone. I just wanted to explain the reasons for the different art styles, and I just wanted to tell you guys my theory, and I think it's pretty correct, but you guys can tell me what you think about it. And if you ask me why do you put the 2011 tech demo on Miyamoto's side, it is because it's just an improved Twilight Princess art style with the HD graphics from the Wii U. So, and Twilight Princess is just realistic Zelda. That's the vision of Miyamoto. It has always been like that. And we can say for certain that that's not what Aonuma likes. Historically, what he has decided to make. So, because it's very easy, guys. Even though if Aonuma made Majora's Mask, like I said before, it was to save time, because it was 1 year development, and anyway they wanted to, with Zelda Gaiden, they wanted to make a side story anyway to Ocarina of Time. So that's why the art style carried on. But when you see, when Aonuma, I mean, he had the chance to continue with the Space World 2000 tech demo, but he actually, I mean, you guys just read what he said. He said, no, this isn't Zelda. This isn't what I want to make. And you can tell that he prefers to make this style of games because that's his vision for Zelda. I will argue that. I will argue that Miyamoto and Aonuma's vision for Zelda artistically are different. And this image proves it to you. So I that is my thesis, guys. Zelda went through a divergence in artistic visions for Zelda. One was that realistic Zelda that Miyamoto had, and the other was Onuma's vision, which is pretty different. And we see the results to this day. So there you go, guys. That's what I wanted to to, to share with you guys. And to me, this was pretty revealing. And what I will say is that I am a fan of Miyamoto's vision, and as long as Onuma is still in charge of the franchise, I don't think he will change course. I think I'll make the prediction that he'll continue making games with that cel shading vision, Wind Waker vision, and Breath of the Wilds, or some variation of that. And unless someone like Yoshiaki Koizumi, which I think he too carries on with the realistic vision of Miyamoto's, unless a guy like him takes charge of Zelda, or at least become the director of one Zelda game. Until then, I don't think we will see realistic Zelda again. But I hope I'm wrong, and Aonuma decides to make realistic Zelda a realistic Zelda game again, even though if it isn't his actual vision for Zelda. Okay, guys, so thank you for listening, and we'll see you in on the next video. See you guys. Peace out.